Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'll be showing you how to make dark UK garage in the style of Interplanetary Criminal. This project is mainly based on his track On Site, and the project file, samples and presets are available for free in the description alongside links to Serum packs and other project files. Only around 30% of my viewers are currently subscribed, so please hit subscribe if you haven't done so already and turn on those bell notifications if you never want to miss a video. If you enjoy the tutorial, don't forget to leave a like. Our BPM is 135 and our key resembles a harmonic minor, but we're only using a few notes. This is our kick. The sample is short and I've used EQ3 and EQ8 to remove bass from the kick. This is because Interplanetary Criminal seems to favor using basses as the main source of sub bass in his tracks. For the MIDI, we have this two-steppy pattern. I've applied this MPC groove with timing at 100 and velocity at 30 for a garagey swing. The groove is also applied to the rim shots and hats as MIDI. Next, we have the rim shot. We have some fades in simpler and EQ to help shape the rim, and drum bus with drive, crunch, and some damping. And these inserts help the snare sound gritty and a bit more lo-fi. For the MIDI, we have a pattern which mainly hits on the second and fourth beats, aside from the little fill at the end there. Then we have the hats, which are together in a drum rack. There's an open hat, closed hat, and a splash. The closed and open hats have been panned to the right, and the splash has been panned a little to the left. The hats are in choke group 1, which means that whenever a new cell plays, it cuts the previous one. This adds to the type feel characteristic of this type of garage. On the channel, we have Redux, drum bus, and an EQ. For the MIDI, the open hat is on offbeat 8th notes, with the closed hat adding groove and the splash sprinkled in. The splash and the closed hats have very low velocities. Then we have this aim and fill, which I'll just play in context first. I noticed similar breakbeat fills in On Site. We have drum bus, EQ, and delay. Interplanetary Criminal uses delay in quite a dubby way on instruments you don't conventionally hear it on in garage, as we'll see throughout the project. On the drums, we have some reverb applied via Send A. I'm using this basement preset, which reflects the environment that this music would typically be played in. I'll solo all the drums together so you can hear what they sound like. Next, we have the basses, all of which are made with Serum. First, there is this Respace. Oscillator A is a sine wave which has been taken down by 2 octaves. I've turned the unison up to 3 for a detuning effect. Normally I would use a single sine wave for sub frequencies, but I noticed that Interplanetary Criminal's Respace in On Site has lots of subby movement, so I emulated this. The voicing is monophonic as it is for all the other basses in this project. LFO1 is modulating the master tuning slowly over time, which we can see in the matrix. You can see that the rate here is 1 bar, giving the patch a bit of a pitch drop. In the FX, we have tube distortion to emphasize the low mids, a compressor for consistency due to the inconsistency created by the unison, and a filter with drive to help thicken the bass. On the channel, we have a utility monoing the bass frequencies below 500 Hz. This is because using unison in Serum pans voices hard left and hard right by default, and I wanted the sub to be mono. I've used EQ3 to help level match the sub of this bass with the other basses. The MIDI is this simple pattern. Which is 4 bars, but you can see there is a little cut here around bar 7. Next, we have the stab bass. In Serum, we have a square wave, which has been taken down by 2 octaves. This stab-shaped amp envelope and a low-pass filter with its cutoff turned down and drive with a bit of resonance too. Then in the effects, we have distortion. On the channel, there's an EQ3 to level the patches sub in comparison to the other basses, and an EQ8 removing some mid-range and brightening the stabs. If we look at the MIDI, we have these octave jumps, which is something else I heard in On Site. I've also used delay during the 7th bar, and this is done via automation to send B, which is this delay with high feedback. Then we have this wobble bass. We have a square wave, which has been taken down by 2 octaves. LFO1 is on trigger mode with a triplet rate of 1/8. The LFO is modulating the cutoff of this low pass filter, and there is drive also. Similarly to the first patch, another LFO, LFO2, is modulating the master tuning, dropping the pitch over time. We also have a macro, which is modulating the cutoff, and I've automated this to open. In the effects, we have distortion. The processing on the channel is similar to the stabs. EQ3 to level out the sub, and an EQ8 to remove mids and brighten. The MIDI is an octave above the other basses and is a G sharp each time, although obviously its pitch drops. I've done different delay automation to send B for each time the synth plays to vary the delay's effect. On the basses group, we have an EQ8, removing frequencies around 100 Hz, which is where we want the kick to punch through. Then we have chorus to add width above 2 kHz, and reverb is applied via send A. Next, we have the effects. First, we have this ambient tape noise, which helps to add some atmosphere. We have a police siren, which is being sent to delay via send B. Then we have this spin effects, which acts as both a transition and an impact. I'll just play this in the mix. There was already delay on the sample, so I haven't added any more. On the group, we have an EQ8 to remove lows, and reverb is applied via send A. All of these types of effects and ambiances are used in various tracks by Interplanetary Criminal. Finally, we have the talk samples.
Your name's not down, you're not coming in. Listen, Matt, told you twice. Alright.
We have talk 1 and talk 1 delay, and these are identical samples. Talk 1
Your name's not down, you're not coming in.
has an auto filter, which helps make it sound more distant. Talk 1 delay has an 100% wet ping pong delay with the feedback relatively low. And this is my approximation of some of the dubby vocal effects heard in On Site, where the delay seems brighter than the source sound. Then finally, we have Talk 2.
Listen, Matt, told you twice. Alright.
We have a bandpass auto filter akin to Talk 1, and an auto pan, which is affecting the volume rather than the panning, making the sample sound a bit choppier.
Listen, Matt, told you twice. Alright. Listen, Matt, I've told you once, I've told you twice. On the list, alright.
Then Talk 2 has been sent to a delay on Send C, which is really similar to the delay on Talk 1 delay. On the talk group, we have an EQ to brighten the voices. And that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks to anyone who's bought projects or preset packs recently. I will see you in the next video.
Your name's not down,